It's Jim and Sydney.
With another episode in the series about web hosts.
In this episode, we're going to cover the more common types of web hosting services there are.
Which asks the question, what type of hosting service do you need?
Just as we discussed in previous episodes about the many different website types or categories there are also varying types of web hosting services. By the way, if you like our content, please support us by subscribing, and give us a like. And please leave a comment. The term shared web hosting is just as its name implies. Multiple websites share the same server. Kind of like a timeshare for websites. For low volume use, this type of service is more than enough for most basic website traffic. Even though the site with the most traffic will dominate more of the server resources over the other sites.
However, shared hosting can be a problem.
If one of the sites gets hit with an extraordinary amount of traffic, the others will experience its very harmful effect. What happens is the dominant site absorbs so much of the available resources that it retards the ability of the others to function effectively. The trade-off is that by sharing a server with many, the cost of operating and maintaining the server is considerably less than other types of hosting services. A shared hosting program usually has many of the features discussed in other episodes, that is, bundled software, unmetered or generous bandwidth, free SSL certificates, WordPress functionality, free shopping carts, and many others.
For the beginner or a low-traffic site, shared hosting is the most cost-effective way to launch a site.
With many starting for as little as $3 per month for bare-bones service. Long-term contract plans can run as much as $18 per month but are more service-orientated, and usually with numerous features included.
The next type of hosting is virtual private server hosting or VPS.
The term virtual is the key to defining this class of hosting. Like virtual reality, it's not an actual or real separate server that you get. Instead, it's an area on a server that emulates an individual server with a set-aside area solely for your use. The server still has multiple customers as in shared hosting, and the resources remaining are reallocated among the subscribers. The difference is that areas of the server are defined so that each customer has its own designated space. The software to do this feat is called a hypervisor. As an illustration of how a virtual private server functions, let's compare it to a college dormitory. The dorm is a single building, yet has a large number of private dorm rooms or suites within it.
And the dormitory is the server.
And the many private rooms are the virtual private servers, the VPSs. VPS managed hosting is typically the choice for those who lack the technical background, or the interest in maintaining a dedicated server. You still have a similar level of customer support as in shared hosting. But then you have more access and control over the server environment. The other side of the VPS coin is the unmanaged version of VPS, which does not offer any support other than for equipment failure or outage.
In other words, if something goes wrong with the environment of an unmanaged version of VPS, you're on your own.
Even though unmanaged, the unmanaged version of virtual private server hosting is a more expensive way to go than shared hosting. Depending on RAM, CPU configuration, disk space requirements and bandwidth needed, VPS hosting can run in the range of $30 to $60 or more per month. But remember that VPSs are a stopgap measure between shared hosting and dedicated hosting. While better than shared hosting, virtual private server hosting is still subject to stress from extremely high volume spikes.
Then there's dedicated web hosting.
Dedicated server hosting offers the user the exclusive use of the server provided by the web host. In other words, you are the only user on the server. Borrowing from the dormitory metaphor above, you can use every room in the dormitory, and not just the one dorm room assigned to you. The dedicated server allows the user to have full administrative access along with total management of the security, and the operating system used to support the server. This type of plan is utilized, and a requirement for those that have incredibly high levels of traffic, and by those users that require complete control of the server environment. With the exclusive use of the server, comes a pretty exclusive cost. Less expensive plans start at about $120 per month, with better packages running from about $300 to as much as $800 per month. Again, the price correlates to the bandwidth, disk space, size of RAM, core configuration and the type of drive used, whether a hard or solid-state drive.
And this is when researching your web host becomes important.
Some web hosts offer cPanels, which is the nickname for the control panel as an included feature, or no-charge part of their service. Even many shared plans do this. A cPanel is the web-based interface that allows the website owner to manage the access to the tools, account, content and administration of the website. And be aware that some of the plans charge a setup fee, and may even an extra separate charge for a cPanel. Control panel setup fees can run from $50 to $100 and are usually one-time charges, but cPanels can also be recurring charges of $20 to $40 per month. Even though we are talking about dedicated servers, not all server plans are equal. The differential factors are in the speed, uptime and quality of customer service. The expense borne for a dedicated server deserves a proportionately higher level of service and amenities from the service provider.
And now we'll go into discussing cloud web hosting.
Cloud hosting conceptually parallels a utility company that is on the power grid. As an electric power company on the grid, the individual power provider interacts with other power companies, supplying additional power to the grid as required. And similarly, the cloud host taps into various servers on the cloud system to provide hosting capabilities to those users as they need it. The servers are typically located in multiple locations, and are managed by a virtual computer that directs and synchronizes with the various servers throughout the cloud network. The consensus is that cloud hosting is better than shared hosting. That is, the cloud is better situated to handle larger volumes of web traffic, affords greater security and is more reliable than shared hosting. Also, because of the technological advances made in cloud systems, the networking power usually available to the big players with huge budgets is now available to the little guy, for a fraction of the cost. We tend to take a more traditionalist view when it comes to cloud systems and their data storage abilities. Your data may become a victim of unidentified risks when on the cloud, just as easily as on non-cloud hosted systems. By being on a cloud system, your site could experience mass hacking attacks, privacy breaches, and lax security measures by others. Also, if the cloud host goes out of business, or has a security failure, the cost or possible inability to retrieve the data stored in the cloud would be a nightmare. In our opinion, critical data should never be only accessible to and under the control of others. Granted, this is the case with any type of hosting that you are on. However remote the possibility may be, using the cloud as the sole means of backup and data storage is something that can be devastating, and needs only to happen once. We're aware that we're in the minority when it comes to sole off-premises versus secondary on-premises data storage. But data breaches or data disruption are not a matter of if it will happen, but rather when it will happen. It is important to note that the security measures taken in the cloud are reliant upon someone else's practices and exposures to threats. As for cloud hosting, if you do use a cloud service, make sure that you have a local backup of your website on your computer. It may be an old version of the site that you backed up some time ago, but at least you are not starting from scratch to rebuild it. The drawback will be that any updated email lists, subscription or membership information, and any collected data stored on the cloud and not locally could be lost.
Or take a protracted period to recover.
The proponents of total reliance on cloud storage as the sole storage medium gloss over this fact. Cloud-based systems are attacked and defeated daily, even with all of the hyper-security measures taken, and enhanced encryption they employ. It's something that should not be dismissed.
As for pricing, cloud hosting will cost more than shared hosting, but not by much.
Some cloud programs start for as little as $4 to $10 per month for a basic plan. Intermediate plans are moderately priced from $50 to $200 per month. For top-level dedicated cloud hosting, it can run from $1,500 to over $2,000 every month. Again, just like all the other categories of web hosting, prices depend on speed, capacity, type of servers used and the level of customer service provided. And always be aware of introductory pricing. What maybe be a very competitively priced plan for an initial contract period can become extremely expensive at renewal time. Check the See More section of this episode for a list of web hosting companies that we have reviewed. Thanks for watching, and look for the next episode, which deals with WordPress hosting and its unique environment and nuances. See you then. To get the entire printed series, click the download link in the description below for our free ebook. Also, don't forget to subscribe and give us a like. We appreciate your support. And please leave a comment. Stay with us to see some of the other episodes in this series. The one on the left is the prior episode, which covers some of the must-have basics for a web hosting service. And the one on the right, which deals with other aspects of web hosting services. Thanks for watching. See you there.